You chew it longer than you should have to, and it still feels off. Not tender, not juicy, just weird. That's the texture people are recognizing. You cut into it, instead of it cutting very easily or pulling, it feels tight. Like it's holding together in a way meat never should. Like meat never used to. You keep chewing and chewing, and it never quite breaks down. I am your host, Elle. Now let's unlock the box.
Fam, I've got questions. One in particular. What in the hell are they feeding us in America? Everything has changed, and if you feel like you're being gaslit by your own dinner plate, you're right. Let's start with the math that doesn't add up. And I've been doing the math because nobody else seems to be doing so, at least not openly. You sit down in Atlanta for a 20-piece box of lemon pepper wings. Let's be real, a chicken only has 2 wings and 2 legs. That means for your one meal, 5 chickens had to die. If a family of 4 does that, that's 20 chickens, and even more if you're getting the whole wing as a 20 pieces. That's roughly 40 chickens gone in 30 minutes. Just think about that. When you multiply that by a city of millions, you're looking at a biological assembly line of billions of birds a year. To keep up with that all day, every day demand, the industry has turned the chicken into a science project. Those baby wings you see, those are from birds slaughtered so young they haven't even matured. That's why the bones are brittle, the meat is flavorless, and it's got no soul. Now, when I say the meat has no soul, I'm not talking about the chicken going to heaven. I'm talking about the essence, the flavor, and the life that is supposed to be in real food. The flavor is gone. A soulful piece of meat is one that was raised slowly on a real farm, eating real bugs and grass. That process creates a deep, rich flavor. The industrial birds we eat now have grown so fast in dark sheds that they are basically blank slates. They have no flavor of their own, which is why we have to drench them in lemon pepper seasoning just to taste something. The vitality is gone. Soul is that textured pull I mentioned earlier. It's the difference between a real, firm muscle and a matted mush science project. When an animal is treated like a machine part instead of a living thing, the resulting meat feels dead and sterile on the plate. The connection is gone. In the past, food felt like it came from the earth. Now it feels like it came from a laboratory. It has no story, no history, and no soul. It's a metaphor for the quality and character that we've traded away for speed and cheap prices. And that matted mush texture, that's woody breast syndrome. We bred these birds to grow so fast, reaching market weight in just 6 weeks, that their muscle tissue actually dies while they're still alive. Their hearts literally can't pump blood fast enough to keep up with their growth. The body replaces that muscle with fibrous scar tissue and fat. You aren't eating a natural animal. You're eating a high-speed industrial accident. This is the #1 reason your chicken breast suddenly feels like biting into a rubber band. I've made the same dish the same way for 20 years, and it isn't the cooking, it's the meat. When those muscle fibers snap and die from the strain of growing too fast, you get a crunchy or gummy resistance that ruins the whole meal. It doesn't pull apart anymore. It fights you. You'll even see those white streaks in the chicken. That's not marbling. That's a muscle disease called white striping. It's a sign that the meat has degenerated so much, it's being replaced by tough connective collagen. It's stringy, it's tough, and it's less nutritious. Then there's the beef. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've been suspicious of beef since those thousands of cattle toppled over and died in the Kansas heat back in 2022. It's a sign of a system pushed to the absolute brink. Quite honestly, beef just hasn't been the same since the pandemic. Now, to keep prices affordable in this crumbling economy, they've turned to meat glue, transglutaminase. They take the scraps, the trimmings, and the leftovers, sprinkle them with an enzyme powder, and fuse them together into a whole steak. That filet mignon you bought might actually be 30 different pieces of scrap held together by chemistry. This is why the texture is off. It doesn't have a natural grain because it was built in a mold. And why is the beef so tough and dry lately? It's pre-slaughter stress. These animals are under high levels of stress from transport and extreme weather, which depletes their glycogen. Their pH levels never drop properly after death, leaving the muscle fibers locked in a state of tension. It's what they call dark, firm, and dry DFD meat. It stays dry and tight no matter how you cook it. Plus, they're in such a rush for turnover that they don't let the meat age anymore. They rush it through the rigor mortis rush, chilling it so fast that the muscles get stuck in a state of cold shortening. Those fibers never get a chance to relax, so they stay knotted up and tough. As for why your meat smells like death after just 24 hours in the fridge, it's the modified atmosphere packaging. The industry pumps those plastic trays with gases like carbon monoxide to keep the meat looking pink and fresh on the shelf, even if it's been sitting there for weeks. The second you open that seal at home, the magic gas escapes, the clock restarts, and you smell the reality of what you actually bought. And it doesn't stop there. Have you noticed the hot dogs lately? You buy a pack of beef hot dogs, and they used to hold their shape. Now you boil them, and they either blow up like a balloon or shrivel down to the size of a Vienna sausage the second they hit the plate. What is that? And don't get me started on the bacon. The package says thick cut in big bold letters, but you open it up and it's paper thin. Once it hits the pan, it shrinks to the size of a tongue depressor. You're paying for fat and water, not meat. Then you go to the produce aisle. Since when does fruit not have seeds? God made trees to produce fruit with seeds so they could regrow. Now everything is seedless. Watermelons, grapes, oranges. If it doesn't have a seed, it doesn't have the spark of life. I promise you, if it doesn't have a seed, I'm not eating it, at least not knowingly. We are eating sterile food. And these burger joints, I agree with the old lady Clara Peller from the 80s. Where's the beef? You won't hear those commercials anymore because they can't answer the question. You get a burger now and it's a thin gray disc of mystery. They think we don't remember. They think we don't remember what a real Pepsi tastes like before it started losing its fizz in 30 minutes. They think the older Americans among us have forgotten the taste of real meat. But here's the kicker. How is the FDA allowing all of this bullshit to slip through? You and I both know these labels mean absolutely nothing. I have personally watched a grocer take fruit that is going bad, take it in the back, cut off the rotting parts, repackage it into a nice, neat little clear container, and then slap a brand new expiration date on it. How the hell is that legal? It's legal because the FDA has gone to a hands-off model. They use something called the GRAS Loophole, generally recognized as safe. It means companies can just decide their own chemicals are safe without even telling the government. There are over 1,000 chemicals in our food right now that the FDA hasn't even reviewed. And don't wait for an inspector to show up at your grocery store. The FDA is so understaffed they haven't met their inspection goals in years. They are actually revoking the standards of identity, the rules that say this must contain real fruit to be called jam, just to give Big Ag more flexibility to sell us fillers. We aren't in a food shortage. We are in a nutrition and honesty shortage. The government and Big Ag have created a two-tier system. The good stuff, real grass-fed heritage breed meat is priced so high only the elite can touch it. The rest of us are fed the GMO version, animals raised on genetically modified corn and soy, injected with hormones, washed in chlorine, and glued back together. You want to know why your chicken tastes like mush and chemicals? It's because you're paying for fecal soup and bleach. Most American chicken is water chilled in a communal bath, where thousands of birds get dunked into the same tank of ice water to cool down. To stop the bacteria from that pool from killing us, they pump it full of chlorine. Your chicken acts like a sponge, soaking up that bleach water up to 12% of its weight. You're paying for a half pound of poison that ruins the flavor and keeps that skin from ever getting crispy. That's why you have to look for air-chilled chicken. No water, no chemicals, just cold air. And that beef, if it isn't pasture-raised, you're eating an animal that was pre-diabetic and inflammatory from a grain diet. I really have to wonder how many people in America are actually getting sick because our bodies weren't meant to process this illusion of food. If it doesn't look, smell, or pull like chicken or beef, what the hell are you putting in your body? We aren't eating organic reality anymore. We're eating a lab-grown lie. So I, like so many others, have begun to wonder and ask, what the hell are they feeding us?
Until next time.